Okay, good. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our SEPTA meeting of April 20th, 2017. We just began with the Pledge of Allegiance, and now I'm going to run through our agenda. So if anybody needs a copy, they're right here in the middle. Our financial report, we're doing okay. We have $1,673.88 in our bank account as of this morning. So that is definitely much better where we were this time last year. But a lot of this money is already accounted for, one of which being the Kids on the Block Assembly, which is coming up in May, and the senior scholarships. We give out a senior scholarship that I'll talk about in a little bit. The Facebook page where we're streaming the Facebook videos live, that has 199 likes. I know we can get to 200. Let's just have one more person like it, please. That would be nice. We go up by small, tiny increments. Okay, thank you. 201, yay. So, great. I'm a little bit, Facebook Live changed the way it appears, so it's throwing me off a little bit. But I think it's working. The past business, we don't have any right now. Ongoing business, we have the fundraiser for some souvenir type stuff. We have the cookbook, which is made up of family recipes. Those are $10 a piece. We should probably start seeing if we could push that a little bit more, maybe gifts for Mother's Day or Father's Day or something. It's got a bunch of family recipes that people in town submitted a long time ago. So this is something that was made before I started as the president of SEPTA. So let's try to get that out there. And Christine Mangelli placed some of the small key fobs in a Cafe 319 to be sold by the students. Cafe 319, if you don't know, is it's in the middle school, and it's a project run by, I forget the teacher. Mrs. Rondesco. More like a life skills type class, and those students actually have a cafe that they set up, and the teachers and the staff can go in and buy items, and yeah, so they have that.
That's really cool.
Which is really, really nice. The Riamar Dine to Donate, we tried to do that in January. I don't believe anybody attended it, so we can try it for a different time and really let people know. I think it was just, after the holidays, it was just a little bit too busy, and none of us really did it, so it's okay. It's not the end of the world. But we could try it again and have a plan to really promote it. The car magnet fundraiser details will be coming soon. The first aid squad, I haven't heard back yet. I'm not so sure this is going to pan out the way we were hoping. We were looking to have some of our first responders in town provide CPR and first aid classes to the teachers, or mostly to the aides in our district, just so they have that basic life skill, and we can't seem to secure a date and get together, so we have a little bit of a challenge with that. Mrs. Baker was going to be getting ready to determine which teachers we're going to be doing this spare change challenge to, which classes we're going to be doing it with. We have about 3 jars that we distribute to 3 different classes, and whoever has the most money in the jars at the end of a specified amount of time, it's usually about a week to 2 weeks period of time, then they can they would get a $10 gift card to like Lakeshore or something like that. Hi, Mrs. Preble. It's okay. And so there's that. The Kids on the Block Assembly, that's the 2nd grade in-school assembly that is taking place on May 8th and May 10th. And the dates have been secured for the puppets for next year as well. So I'm very excited that we've gotten that secured for next year already. But the Kids on the Block is an assembly that discusses how to recognize, interact, and accept people with different learning abilities. We cover the topics of being handicapped in a wheelchair, visually impaired, and cerebral palsy. We cover those specific areas just so people can have a greater sense of, how they could recognize someone who has special needs. So there's that. New business. The Special Education Week in New Jersey is May 14th to the 20th, and the theme is Bright Tomorrow for Today's Students. And I found this today on a website, which I thought I put in here, but I didn't. The Special Education Week in New Jersey is commemorated by a proclamation of the New Jersey State Legislature and is a chance for students, families, and school administrators and decision makers to celebrate special education services, programs, and most importantly, the teachers who make it possible for our children with disabilities to learn effectively and to reach their full potentials in their families and their communities. So during Special Education Week, SEPTA provides just a small, very small token of our appreciation with some baked goods and a little thank you note. It's very small as compared to what I would like to do, but in terms of funding, that's what we can do. So, so thank you for the teachers and the aides and everyone. We appreciate you. In my position with my friend Marianne here as the community liaison for the Mayor's Advisory Committee for Persons with Disabilities, we had the pleasure of attending a ADA coordinators luncheon on March 28th. And wow, I did a bad job writing this one because I didn't fill out department. But according to the Department of Justice, websites must be accessible for users with disabilities. So the PTA has their own website, and I've been using, and I designed the website for us. So I've been using that website to figure out how best to implement accessibility ready accessibility readiness, so people who are visually impaired can have a screen reader technology, people who need to have the fonts enlarged, they have the capability to do that as well. So I'm working on that as well. So please take a look at the website. Let me know what you think of the functionality that pops up on that. And also, I've said that, okay. Future fundraisers, the Give by Cell phone, I will look into that again. Future meeting guests, I'm still going to be in touch with Stephen Beers with the Popcorn for the People person. Popcorn for the People. So we're going to try to work something out, if not this year, then next year. And hold on just 1 second. Jessica join. Trish, can you go on your Facebook and share the Facebook video?
Okay.
So people can...
Where do I go? SEPTA page?
Yeah. And then you should see a share button. Okay. Oh, she's not watching, so I can't tell her the answer on this. So, a board member search, we would also like to get more parents involved on the board. One thing about our PTA is that we also cover the gifted and talented parents, and I'll bet the gifted and talented parents didn't know that their child is covered by SEPTA. The parental and student input is urgently requested because from our perspective, most of the people on our board have smaller children, so we're not in the upper grades, so we don't know how to deal with issues that come up regarding their child in special education in the middle school and in the high school, especially as they start to transition from class to class and are not in the same class. So that would definitely be helpful to have more input. And all of our students learn differently. We need to embrace that. So please come out to give us a hand. We really would appreciate that. And I'm almost to you. The scholarship deadline for our SEPTA scholarship is May 19th, 2017. So please see the agenda for the applications and get those in. And there's a link to our membership forms here. And now for our special presentation, I would like to introduce Dr. Ken Freedman. He's here in our studio audience, helping us. Great, thank you. Thanks, Trish. I saw that you joined. For the past 37 years, Dr. Ken Freedman has directed the Freedman Chiropractic Center, LLC in East Brunswick. His purpose is to improve the quality of life in his patients and community. In addition to his chiropractic services, Dr. Freedman also offers nutritional, weight loss, and purification programs. The area's preeminent expert on wellness, Dr. Freedman has appeared on MSNBC, News 4 New York, WABC Eyewitness News, and News 12 New Jersey. He regularly hosts Wellness Spotlight, airing on East Brunswick TV, which won the New Jersey Access Group Award for Best Informational Program in 2015. He serves as the council chairman of the Middlesex County Board of Health and Wellness Council, president of the East Brunswick Advisory Health Council, and is a member of the Association of New Jersey Chiropractors. Dr. Freedman offers business and industry a variety of programs that reduce stress, prevent injuries, and improve productivity. He also speaks regularly to local schools, thank you, and organizations on a variety of wellness and safety topics. He is married for 25 years, congratulations, with 2 children, and has a Labradoodle named Ziggy.
The only reason why I'm married 25 years is because my wife can't throw anything out.
Thank you.
So thank you for allowing me to speak, Danielle. Thank you for sharing your evening with me. Today I'm going to be talking about stress management for successful living. So the first thing I'm going to ask everybody to do is to make yourselves comfortable and pivot your chair toward me. So this way, you're not twisted to one side. It'll be a lot easier for you. So, just by show of hands, who here would say they're under stress? Everybody. Okay. I'm curious, how does your stress affect you?
Sometimes you lay in bed and you can't sleep because your mind is racing. Sometimes it makes you exhausted. You come home and you just can't believe how tired you are when you really didn't do anything physically exceptional, but it was just emotionally draining. It's just a lot of stress.
I would say that it affects my sleep.
Your sleep? Okay.
Mostly.
Who here gets their sleep affected by stress? Yeah? What else? How does your stress affect you?
Migraines.
Migraines.
I tense up.
You tense up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't eat well.
Oh, it affects your it can affect your appetite one way or another.
Right.
Some people eat more, some people don't eat when they're under stress. What else?
I have a child with special needs, and so I would give him medicine for sleeping, but then sometimes he'll wake up in the middle of the night, and then you have to be up when he's up.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that rolls over into the next day.
Yes.
And it affects you. So there are 3 main forms of stress. Because stress means different things to different people. There's actually 3 key forms of stress. Can you name what the 3 forms of stress are? 3 forms of stress. Think about what's stressful. Okay, there's three generalized categories of stress. What would that be?
Emotional.
Great. Emotional. This is in no special order.
Like when your last child moves out.
They say insanity's hereditary. You get it from your children. Okay. So emotional, very good. And there's 2 more.
Physical.
Yes, physical. And what's the third? Well, mental is under emotional. Okay? So good, you got 2 out of the 3. Most people don't even get this far. Okay? Physical, chemical, what's the third? Physical, I just gave it to you. Chemical and emotional. By the way, what's the nickname for Middlesex County, New Jersey? Starts with a C and ends with Alley. Cancer Alley. Right? Who here has heard of that? Yes, Middlesex County. Why? Because there's more Superfund sites in Middlesex County than any other area within the state. We're exposed to more chemicals than any other area of the state. And our environmental exposure has an impact on our body and our health. So, yes, the third area of stress is chemical. Now, let's come out of left field. Okay? We'll get that later. Thanks, Tricia.
That was pretty cool.
So what would you imagine would be the single biggest threat to the body's ability to be able to handle physical, chemical, and emotional stress the best? Thank you. What do you think that would be? What would threaten your body's ability to be able to tolerate? Because health is really your ability, how well you tolerate each of these forms of stress. Because the truth is that we're exposed to all three forms of stress every single day. Yeah. Maybe in varying degrees from one day to the next. You know, around the holidays, it could be more emotional, you know, or it could be more physical, or it could be more chemical, depending upon how you celebrate. But we're exposed in varying degrees. But yet, we all know of people who get exposed to physical, chemical, and emotional stresses. A person falls down. You know, you see the football players playing, and they get hammered. They dust themselves off. They're a little sore for a few days, and then the next weekend, they're playing again. And then somebody else just gets tapped riding in a car, and they're practically crippled. They can't move or turn. So why is it that everybody can be affected by stress differently? To the degree that your body can tolerate stress best is to the degree that you're healthy. You know, that's all along the lines of only the strongest and the fittest survive. That's what that's really all about. The ability to be able to tolerate the environment and all of the stresses that brings and comes to bear on a living thing. So physical, chemical, and emotional stress is your ability to tolerate. So what event do you think would be the one event that would compromise our ability to tolerate stress best? Okay, it's the birth process. Being born. That's what does it. Now, what does the birth process have to do with that? Here's why. We are energetic beings, meaning that a dead person has all the same parts as a live person does. However, the one key thing that differentiates a dead person from a live person is energy. How much energy is flowing through that person's body. The lack or the absence of energy is the lack or the absence of life. So what does the birth process have to do with that? A lot. Now, if I hold up a model of a spine, this is a replica of a human spine, and if I held it up in front of me, in other words, if I pulled my spine out and I held it in front of me, so you were looking at the spine as you're looking at me now, this would be the back of my head. My brain would be up here, and I'm facing that corner as I am now. This would be the neck area, the mid-back. This would be the lower back. And this is the pelvic area, and this is the top of the left hip, and this is the top of the right hip, like so. Now, what controls the body? What is it that controls the body? What controls it?
Your brain.
Are you sure? The brain? The nervous system? Gray's Anatomy says that the purpose of the brain and the nervous system is to control and coordinate all of the organs, tissues, and systems within the body and orient you to your environment.
Which episode was that?
That was page 4 on my edition.
Oh, the book.
The book, Gray's. Oh, you were thinking of the show. No, that was a big, heavy green book that I had to carry around when I was in chiropractic school.
Sorry.
Long before the show. That's pretty funny. That's a stress reliever. So, yeah, it's called Grey's Anatomy. That's
No, I know.
where the show
I
got
just
its name.
forgot.
It's considered the Bible. And you know what?
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy is wrong.
Oh.
Grey's Anatomy is wrong because a dead person has a brain and a nervous system.
Okay.
But there's no control. There's no function.
Okay.
So it's not the brain and the nervous system. A house has wiring, just like the human body does. The nervous system is the wiring inside our body, the house that our life lives in. So if a house doesn't have electricity, if it doesn't have energy to run it, who wants to live in a house without energy?
Okay.
Or where there's short circuits in the flow of that energy? That house doesn't work as well. It's not as safe to live in. You're more vulnerable. And in the human body, anything that interferes with the flow of life energy between the brain and the body interferes with the body's ability to function well. That life energy is generated by the brain. It goes down the spinal cord, which is basically a big extension cord off the brain. And then it comes out from in between the vertebrae. The spinal cord travels through the bones of the spine, and then, like the branches off of the trunk of a tree, the nerves exit out off of the spinal cord and carry that energy to all of the different parts. Now, how much of the energy traveling over the nervous system goes to the muscles and joints? What percentage would you say? I know, you probably, what would you guess? How much percent?
80%?
80%, that's a good guess. It's actually, and that's what most people think, Marianne, it's actually 20%. 20% of all of the energy going through your brain and body goes to the muscles and joints, what people can feel. The other 80% is responsible for controlling and coordinating the individual functions of all of the organs and glands and tissues and systems, and then orienting how all those organs and glands work in harmony with one another, how they interact with one another. Because it's not only sending the power to the individual instruments within the orchestra, it's also controlling and coordinating how all of the instruments in the orchestra play together. Both of those things directly relate to how healthy your body is, how well you digest your food, your immune competence, your resistance to colds and infections and the flu, ear infections, things like viruses, your ability to be able to get the most out of your exercise, the quality of your rest is controlled by chemistry inside of your body. That chemistry is mediated by the energy between all of the different parts of the brain and your body. And back again. So there is a symphony of functions that occurs inside the human body, and the master conductor is the energy that's traveling over the nervous system. So we know there's 4 key things. The body, if it's healthy, has the capacity to self-heal and self-regulate. In other words, your heart should function at a certain level. In fact, if you look at disease inside the human body, it's either too much or not enough. Too much or not enough is disease. Kind of like the idle on your car. You know that if your car is running properly, it's supposed to idle at a certain level. If you're sitting at the light and the engine is going, wah, you know something's wrong. And if it's running too low, that's not good either. It's got to be right in the sweet spot. It's the same thing within the human body. High blood pressure, low blood pressure, constipation, irritable bowel syndrome, muscle spasm, muscle weakness, ADD, ADHD, narcolepsy. Too much or not enough is disease. And if you look at the approach that the medical profession takes, allopathy, works to either hypo the hyper or hyper the hypo. And every medicine acts on the nervous system to be able to affect that type of artificial change. So what does all this have to do with stress management and the birth process? Well, anybody here ever watch a child being born? You could look at Beck's medical obstetrical practice, which is the textbook that's used by a lot of obstetricians in the United States today. There are other textbooks as well. If you watched your children being born, as I did, it's incredible, because what happens is the head is birthed first. In the least stressful birth process, the head comes out. Where are the shoulders? They're back inside of you. Now, how do the shoulders get born? What happens is the obstetrician takes the head, twists and pulls to get one shoulder out, and then twists and pulls up to get the other shoulder out. That produces a tremendous amount of irritation and can put the spine out of alignment and create a condition called vertebral subluxation complex, or what I call subluxation for short. A subluxation is a short circuit in the ability of energy to flow over the nervous system, and it interferes with the body's ability to comprehend itself. In other words, for the brain to communicate with the body and the body back to the brain again. That line of communication occurs over the neural pathways, over the nervous system. Anything that's going to mess with the flow of that energy is going to interfere with your body's ability to function properly. So the body is designed to self-heal and self-regulate. The energy over the nervous system is responsible for controlling and coordinating that function. If you interfere with the flow of that energy, that's a bad thing. And if you remove interference to the flow of that energy, that's a good thing. So when we deal with stress, when we talk about stress, how well energy is flowing between the brain and body, and how strong your body is, and how well it can comprehend itself, directly relates to how well you can handle the physical, chemical, and emotional stresses that we're subjected to. So if we look at the birth process, what do you think? Would that be an emotional, a physical, or a chemical stress? Big time. Physical stress. What about pregnancy on the mother? Is that a physical, chemical, or emotional stress?
All of the above.
All of the above. Absolutely. Do you know that every extra pound the body carries results in a 4-pound increase on L5S1 at the base of your spine? So if a pregnant woman typically gains 20 to 25 pounds or more in a pregnancy, do the math. That's an additional 80 to 100 pounds on the lower back. It's no wonder so many pregnant patients experience back pain and discomfort because of the spine being out of alignment to begin with, and then the extra weight and physical stress, the change in the chemistry that's going on, and the emotional factors that come into play from being pregnant. You see?
I have a question. How does that apply with C-sections too?
C-sections are even more traumatic. Even more traumatic. Why?
Oh, wow.
Why? Well, because they're not turning a mother into a bassinet where they can just reach in and take the baby out. They're still making a 10-centimeter incision, the same length as what would be a fully dilated uterus. Then they fish the neck and the head out, and then they pull the shoulders out. But what do they have to do to be able to make that incision first? What do they do to you?
They epidural.
Yes, they drug you. Now, most women who have been carrying a baby for 9 months lead a very clean lifestyle. They're so careful about what they eat. Every drug is contraindicated. You can't have certain forms of physical therapy. Chiropractic is safe. It's the safest form of health care there is. I'm a pregnant woman's best friend. It's the only place they can get to lie face down because my tables open up for the baby. You know, and they can be adjusted to take pressure off the nervous system, and it's great for the mother and it's great for the baby, and they have healthier deliveries. I've only had one C-section in 38 years of practice. Okay? That's amazing, considering 25% of all births in the United States are section births. Okay? Okay? So it's more traumatic because of the drugs involved and the surgery involved. And since the abdominal muscles are antagonistic to the lower back muscles, cutting them, severing them, weakens them. And that's why women who have had sections are more susceptible to back pain and back injury, unless they make sure that their spine is correctly aligned and the energy is flowing well, and they do therapeutic exercises to tone and rehabilitate those muscles effectively. But most women aren't told to do that. They're so busy taking care of their kids, and when they get 5 minutes, they want to rest. They don't think about exercising. So that's how the problems, perpetuate. Sound familiar? Okay. So physical stress. What other physical stresses are there?
Your job.
Yeah. Well, the position that you're in. How about this? Everybody stand up. Okay? Guess what the most stressful position on the spine is? Yes. Sitting's the most stressful position. Your spine is under 50 to 75% more stress seated than standing. And yet, our kids sit in school all day long. And we expect them to pay attention by putting them in a position that is the most stressful position for their growing and developing spine to be in. And most of them have never had their spines checked for subluxation. So you see how this impacts their ability to be able to withstand the effects of stress. And then teachers wonder, how come kids aren't paying attention as much as I would like them to? Of course how would you feel if you were stuck in a chair that, didn't support you well in the toughest position that your back is in? So you're under a lot less stress standing than seated. That's a tremendous physical stress. Fellas especially have a lot of stress when they're seated. Why? Because where do we put a wallet? In our back pocket. Good. So, what I do is I split my money and my license and credit cards and keep it in my front pocket. So this way when I sit down, my body's supported correctly. But, people sit on the job or they're home watching the game, and then they can't understand why. They go to bend over and pick up a piece of paper and they can't straighten up. Because that pressure on the spine has thrown it out of alignment, and they have problems. Everybody can sit down here. Okay, just want to give you a little stretch. Unless you want to stay standing like me. So it's true, if you go out to eat, you're actually under more stress than the person serving you. Think about that. 50 to 75% more stress. What other physical stresses are there? That can be a physically stressful, especially if your body's not correctly aligned. I've been the house chiropractor for New York Sports Club. When it was located right next to me, I've worked with the United States Olympic athletes and professional golfers, people who rely on their body for a living. And, these activities, very stressful. Right? How about this? Teachers, like this, all day. I have a teacher that just, by the way, it's interesting that you called me, Danielle, because I attract educators. It's the single biggest demographic that I take care of. Teachers. And they find me, because I guess I love to teach myself. And doctor means teacher. That's the real meaning of the word doctor. So, I'm here tonight to be able to show you things that you probably never heard or saw before. That's where I can really serve you the most. So feel welcome to chime in and interrupt if you have any questions. Falls, accidents, injuries, carrying a shoulder bag, a pocketbook on one side, high-heeled shoes. I see a lot of flats. That's great. High-heeled shoes. Carrying a baby on one hip. Carrying a baby on one hip. All of these things can be physically stressful. Do I have to get into what emotional stress is with you guys? Okay, guilt, anger, anxiety, fear. You know, it puts a tremendous toll on the body. And by the way, emotional stress causes tremendous chemical stress. Here's what happens emotionally. We have, without getting into a lot of fancy neurology, we have a part of our nervous system that's responsible for what's called fight or flight, the fight or flight mechanism, which was designed many years ago to help save us. So we'd round the corner and there'd be a saber-toothed tiger. So all of a sudden, what would happen? Digestion would shut down, the adrenals would squirt out a lot of adrenaline, and then that would get our muscles ready. The blood would start pumping, and that would get our muscles ready so that we could either run like the Dickens or fight for our life. But the idea was to get out of harm's way, one way or another. Now, there's no saber-toothed tigers anymore, but there's tax season, and wondering how I'm going to make that payment, and the call down to the teacher's office, and not getting along with a significant other or family member, or the holidays, or some other type of issue that may have happened many years ago that you haven't been able to work through or get over, that seems to rear its ugly head from time to time, and those issues get into the tissues of your body, and that causes the adrenals to keep squirting adrenaline in, and that's why the muscles tighten up. And when the muscles tighten up, that starts to cut off the flow of blood. One of the most common causes of headache is subluxation in the upper neck, which affects the muscles around the scalp, the neck, and the upper back. And when the blood supply gets reduced, that's what produces the most common form of headache. And that's why it's so responsive to chiropractic care. The joke in my household is I'm the only guy that can give my wife a headache and take it away at the same time. And typically it's from the upper neck. The upper neck is the most susceptible area for subluxation. Why? Because it moves more freely than any other part of the spine. And it's got the weight of a bowling ball. The skull weighs about 10, 11 pounds. It's the weight of a bowling ball. And most people don't hold their head up over their shoulders. Most people have forward head posture. So if you ever held a bowling ball out in front of you, you know how hard that is compared to holding it up close to your body. But your body has to do that all the time, and coupled with the fact that all the energy from your brain is going through your neck to get to the rest of you, and your spine's out of alignment and there's more stress on it, it causes a vicious cycle. More pressure on the nervous system, and as a result, over years and years, there's premature wear and decay. That's the process of arthritis, and osteoarthritis, and calcium being deposited within the joints, and the discs wearing thin. It's not a matter of getting older. It's a matter of the spine being out of alignment, not functioning as well, and then over many years of malfunctioning, showing premature areas of wear and decay. Much the same way that if you bumped your tire and knocked the front end of the car out of alignment, and then you continued to drive, you'd see that that tire on the front, after many miles, would be bald on one side and have plenty of tread on the other. It's not because the tire's old. The tires on the back are the same age, but if they're balanced in an alignment, you're not going to see that abnormal wear. The same thing in the body. What's another physical stress? Being overweight. For the same reason that pregnancy puts extra stress on the body, but it's weight that doesn't go away after 9 months. So every extra pound of fat is 4 extra pounds of stress on the lower back, 8 pounds of stress on the knees, 10 pounds of stress on the feet. Do the math. And if you don't have a problem now, wait. Because it's not only the joints that have more, and typically most people who have never been checked have the spine out of alignment. So it's like hammering a bent nail. And then they try to exercise because their physician tells them, you have to exercise to be able to get the weight off. So now they try to exercise and they have too much pain. Of course they do. Things aren't working right. Imagine how your car would, if you took it up on 287, to run it harder if it wasn't tuned up right. That's a faster way to break the car, the same way people hurt their body, you see? So as far as physical stress goes, there's lots and lots of ways to be able to select which physical stresses you could avoid. Pick a chair, that fits you better. Be careful where you walk. Get a mattress that is 7 years old or under. If your mattress is older than 7 years of age and you're sleeping on it, and you spend a third of your life in bed, then of course if you're better supported, that's going to be better for you. As far as emotional stress goes, surround yourself with people who are thinking on a higher level. People who resonate with you, the people who you want to be like. It's tough because, we think the people who are thinking right are the ones who think like us. And now look what's going on overseas. Here there's conflicts of cultures, and each one's convinced that they're thinking the right way. That guy, they're all right. Why? They think the way I do. And that's why fish swim in schools. Choose the thoughts that serve you best. That's the one thing we can control. We can't always control what life deals us. And sometimes it's really not fair. But what we can do is we can select the thoughts that serve us the best. We can choose to think and respond in ways that serve us the best. And that is very empowering to have that kind of knowledge and awareness. We can choose the kinds of foods that we eat, what we put in our body. You know what? The typical car has about, how many gallon tank?
14.
It can be 14 to 20 gallons depending upon how big your car is. Okay, take a cup of water. You know how much 20 gallons is, and you know how much a cup is. Take a cup of water, pour it in your car's gas tank. How do you think your car is going to run? Better or worse? Much worse. Okay, so could I have the assistance of a very strong man, please? Not everybody at once. Okay, thank you for volunteering.
Volunteer, right.
Thanks. I am thanks. Thank you for stepping up. Okay, have we ever met before? No. Okay, good. So, is there anything wrong with your shoulder, elbow, or wrist? No. Okay, good. I'd like you to face me. Okay, now you don't know what I'm going to do you? Okay, so I want you to check this out. The human body is an intelligent what? How closely have you been paying attention? It's an intelligent energy field. We're an intelligent energy field, right? In fact, we know this. It's an energy field. We have an energy field around us. We've heard about the aura of the body. That's an energy field that we produce. And that can be a healthy or an unhealthy energy field. We've heard about the chakras. And there's energy that flows through us, that travels over the nervous system. So, if something comes into contact with your energy field, and it's good for you, does it strengthen you or weaken you? It would strengthen you, right? What if you came into contact with an energy field that's bad for you, like radioactivity? What would happen? Not good. It would weaken you, wouldn't it? Okay. How about electromagnetic fields? Who wants to live near high tension wires? Why? We don't want to be near that energy field. Okay? Cell phones. Wiring in a building. Televisions. Hair dryers. Something I don't have to worry about. Okay? But all these things, vacuums produce tremendous energy fields. Motors, electric motors. Okay? But food has an energy unto itself too. The things that we put into us and the things that we put on us. Cosmetics, creams, lotions, potions, things like that. I want you to hold your arm up, Ed. Okay? Now, I'm going to press down. Now, you look like a pretty big, strong guy, and I'm kind of strong too, but this isn't about me beating you or you beating me. What I want you to do is, you're in there, I want you to feel how strong your energy is. Okay? You feel it. Now, resist my push. Hold. Hold. Give me all you got. Hold. Okay. He's very strong. Now, this is all I'm going to do. Okay, I want you to put your arm up. Okay, and resist me now. Ready? Hold. Come on. I'm with one finger. Hold my finger against your arm. What happened? Okay, are you stronger or weaker?
Weaker.
Okay. This is an artificial sweetener. It's in just about everything. Whether you call it NutraSweet or aspartame or sorbitol, it's in just about everything. Diet sodas. Well, I drink diet soda because I don't want to have all that sugar in my system. By the way, if I used a pack of sugar, Ed, I'd blow you out like that. Do you know sugar is one of the most toxic substances you can put inside your body? 5 grams of sugar.
But you're drinking water, so that's...
5 grams of sugar will compromise your immune system 50% up to 5 hours. So, when a child gets sick, when they have a cold or a virus, we give them tea with honey. Right. Thanks, Ed. You can sit down. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I should get at least as much applause as Ed got. Okay. Yeah, we give them honey. But wait a minute. Honey's natural. It's found in nature. It can last thousands of years. They find it in Egyptian tombs. That have, okay, and it's still edible. It's still fresh. Why is honey bad? Now let's stop and think, okay? Is nature intelligent or stupid? Nature. Let's look at nature. The same thing that created us, that takes a single cell, 2 cells, makes 1 cell, and then turns it into a fully functional human being in 280 days. That's nature. Would you say that's pretty darn smart? Try it sometime. Okay? By the way, the mother doesn't do it, and the father doesn't do it. It's nature. It's that spark of life, and then, without you thinking about it, the process takes place. The same way that processes inside of our body take place, without us thinking about it. Like, Danielle, you just drank water. That's going to help make new liver cells and stomach cells. Right. And, you know, you had dinner. It's going to make new hair cells and muscle cells. Your heart's going to beat at a certain level. You're breathing now, and the oxygen and CO2 exchange is taking place inside of your body without you even thinking about it. Could you imagine if people had to wind their heart like a clock every day? They wouldn't even get out of bed. It happens without us even thinking about it, as long as there's no interference to the process. That's the big caveat, you see? So, if there's interference to the process, no good. Chemicals that don't belong inside of us help to subluxate the body, impair the body's ability to be able to function well. You saw what happened to his muscles. And yet, nature is intelligent. That was the point I was making a minute ago. So if nature's intelligent, watch. Would nature really, really, think about this, would nature allow us to have honey? Would nature, think about where honey comes from, think about how you get it. Would nature allow us to have honey?
No.
Why?
It doesn't break down. It doesn't, it's... What?
The bees would keep you away.
Nature says that honey is for bears that need to eat a very, very caloric, dense, high glycemic index food to pack on a lot of fat because it's going to hibernate for the whole winter. And bears are equipped to be able to deal with the bees. You see, to be able to eat that honey and be able to put on that fat. So what happens, the reason why obesity is rampant, 30% of Americans are obese, 17% of children are obese. It's because there's so much sugar in our diet, and it's hidden in so many different ways. I'll guarantee you there's a ton of sugar in those bars that have that wholesome look on it with the apples, and they're called Honest. Okay? It's still sugar. Well, let's see if I can read it. Oh, filtered water.
This is
Or-
It says
organic.
how many sugars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Organic, apple juice from concentrate, natural flavors, vitamin C, ascorbic acid, organic natural flavors. I don't know what organic natural flavors are. And citric acid. Okay, so this is a juice. All right, apple juice is very concentrated. It's much sweeter than eating an apple. A glass of orange juice. Have you ever seen them make orange juice over at the Colonial Diner? How many oranges are in a glass of orange juice? A lot. A lot. More oranges than you would eat in a sitting. So you're getting a tremendous hit of sugar at one time, even though it comes from real fruit. Okay? So it compromises your immune system. It's very toxic to your body. And nature wouldn't allow you to have it. Nature would bring you to the tree, and from you're in a meadow. You're walking along. How much time do I have, by the way? You want me to wrap up soon?
Want another 15
You wind me
minutes?
up, I'll keep going.
You want another 15 minutes or so?
Okay, if not less.
Okay.
Okay? But if we're in a meadow, we're walking along, and we see a tree in the distance. Nature tells us exactly when the fruit is ready to be eaten. It brings us to it. It makes it orange or it makes it red. It draws our eye to it. We know from a distance that's for us. But nature always keeps you away from the things that you shouldn't have, like the bees and the honey. Okay? Let's talk about a couple of other things that are highly toxic to the body. Fasten your seatbelt. Dairy. Dairy? Dairy. What about yogurt? Where does it come from? Where does yogurt come from? Milk. Where does milk come from? Cow. How many stomachs does a cow have? More than we got. A cow has a multi-chambered stomach. Why? Do cows eat things that are easy to digest or hard to digest? By the way, what do cows love to eat? What does a dog eat to throw up? How many chambers is a dog's stomach? One, like ours. But a cow has a multi-chambered stomach. Now, who is cow's milk for?
The calf.
Who? Baby cows. Okay? It's formulated for a baby cow that has a multi-chambered stomach because it's equipped to be able to digest things that are hard to digest. So people who say they are lactose intolerant are really expressing health. Because human beings are the only animals on the planet that continue to drink milk after we are weaned. Think about it. But how am I going to get my calcium? From green leafy vegetables and meat. Do you know that almond milk has twice the calcium as cow's milk and half the calories? It's better for you.
What about cashew milk?
Hello. That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not. But nuts grow on trees which are designed for us to be able to eat. Cow's milk is not really for us. You know, when nature again is very smart, when the baby's teeth come in and the baby starts to bite the nipple, we know that that's nature saying it's time for whole foods. That milk is no longer enough to sustain this life. So why give it more milk? Especially from an animal that it's not supposed to have milk from. Cow's milk is extremely toxic. Very toxic. So what's the third stooge in the American diet? Wheat. But what about organic wheat? Wheat. Do you know that we don't eat the same wheat that our grandparents ate? The wheat that we eat is genetically modified. Want to know a reason why there's so many inflammatory problems? Well, it's because of the wheat, the dairy, and the sugar. The three stooges, what I call the three stooges in the American diet, that produce a great deal of systemic inflammation. Wheat, we shouldn't be eating wheat, even though it's such a staple in our diet. You find it just about everywhere. Why? Why? Okay, let's go back to the original idea again. Nature's pretty smart. If you eat wheat in it, like an apple, in its natural form, we know it's there, we get drawn to it, we grab it, we take a bite of it. It's an apple, tastes good, goes down easy, we digest it, and it comes out waste. But what if we did the same thing with wheat? Could you even chew wheat in its natural form? You'd break your teeth on it. And if you swallowed it, it would come out the way that it went in. It's undigestible. Wheat has to be stepped on and processed so many ways and so many things added to it to make you want to eat it. Why do you think there's so much added to wheat? You rarely get wheat alone in bread. There's other stuff that's in there too to make you want to eat it. Highly, highly inflammatory, and not for us. It's for cattle and cows. Why do you think they put on so much weight? Do you know that the genetically modified wheat that we eat breaks down into a carbohydrate that's 10 times sweeter than sugar?
Yes, I did.
10 times
Yes.
sweeter than sugar. And that's why people say, I'm addicted to bread. Because sugar acts on the same part of the brain as opiates do. What's one of the biggest situations, the biggest health crisis in the United States today is opiate addiction. Because of the part of the brain that it acts on. Sugar acts on so people get their sugar a number of different ways. In candy, additives, bread, alcohol. Okay? So, wheat, dairy, and sugar are tremendously chemically stressful. So you say to me, geez, I'm under stress. But could you see how, if your body isn't functioning correctly and you're subluxated, spine's out of alignment, energy isn't flowing well, that reduces your tolerance to physical, chemical, and emotional stress. And then you live in a world that is barraging you with physical, chemical, and emotional stresses. Like, let's go for pizza. There's the trifecta of wheat, dairy, and sugar. You see? You know? And that's where nature doesn't make any sense to me, Trish. It doesn't make any sense, because how come the stuff that's so bad for you tastes so good? You know? Because the reason is it's engineered that way. They hook you and reel you in. So what do you do? What do you do? You know, what is a parent supposed to do? Because you know what? We're all unique in so many different ways. We all come from different backgrounds, all come from different parts of the area, different sexes, different races, different nationalities, different religions. But you know what? As parents, we have a lot more in common than our differences are. We share the same dreams. We want the same things for our kids. And you know what? Our children, as they grow, they want the same things for us. They want us to be healthy. They want us to live a long life. They want us to be happy. And we all know that life is going to punch you in the nose, one way or another. We're going to have to walk out after this meeting's done, and we're going to have to breathe the air outside. You know, we're going to come into contact with people that may not necessarily be firing on all 8 cylinders or have all the cards in their deck. Okay? We may be, you know, subjected to a lot of different things. So the key is to identify the things in your life, make a list of the, you should pardon the expression, of the low-hanging fruit. The physical, chemical, and emotional stressors that you can identify in your life that you can get rid of right away. Like, for example, look at the cleaning products you have in your home. There's a chemical stressor right away. Do green cleaning. Go to it, take your clothes to a green dry cleaner. Be careful about the amount of junk that you buy and you eat.
I clean with vinegar.
That's right.
It's, if it was good enough for my grandmother, it's good enough for me.
And it's terrific.
It's
Yep.
absolutely environmentally
See,
friendly.
that's a great first thing that you could do. Take baby steps. Identify those things. as far as emotionally goes, look at the things that push your button and see if you can look at it in a way that serves you better. Okay? Yeah, my job really is stressful, but you know what? Because I have this opportunity and abundance comes into my life, I can provide for my children. They can have a better future. You know, it gives me the ability to have some sense of worth and contribute something. Okay, you know what? I may not necessarily be working with people that I get along with the most, and sometimes we lock horns, but the fact is that there's a lot that's better about this job. And you know what? If it's really that bad, there's other jobs that are out there. And you always have the freedom and the ability to go get it, which is a mindset too. The power of choice. Okay? It's all about choice. And then, you know, the physical stresses. Sit with good posture. Preserve the curve in your lower back. Here's where everybody changes their position. Okay? It's better to sit with your legs crossed at the ankles instead of at the knees so it doesn't pull on your lower back. Take the wallet out of your back pocket. You know, use a back support or roll a towel, put it under your lower back. Check your mattress at home. See how old it is. Get a better mattress. Adjust the car seat in your car. You know, if you're seated for a while, get up out of your chair. Use what I use. Get a sit-stand desk. And now you don't even have to buy the whole desk. You can buy the little contraption that goes on top of the desk that you can raise and lower. You know, get out and walk. Get some exercise. Lose some extra pounds that you don't need to carry any longer. I have a phenomenal program. Information's on the table. I have a program to detoxify and cleanse the body. That's amazing. You know, if you want more information about that. And I also have plenty of information about what chiropractic care does in raising a healthier, drug-free family. We all want the same things. So I'm here to help you. And I want to thank you again for inviting me to come down and speak to you. I hope I didn't take too long and too much time. But, you know, I just want to tell you how important this is and how much it means to me. One day, I was in my office. I'm going to close with this story. And one day I'm in my office. It's a Saturday morning. It's a casual day. And a lot of people come in while they're running their errands. And I had a dad that had come in for horrible lower back pain. He had been under care for about 3 weeks. He was doing great. And he was lying down on the table, and he had brought his little daughter with him. And she was sitting in the chair. Father was lying face down on the table. And I'm about 6'1". I'm pretty big and imposing. And it can be, you know, a little unnerving to a child to see a big stranger over their parent like that. So I try to make it fun, and I'm touching and telling and explaining and teaching, even to this child. You know, Dr. Ken's checking Dad to make sure that his body is strong and healthy. He's checking to see if his power's on, or if Dad's spine's out of alignment and the nerves are being pinched. That's called a subluxation. You know, Dad's doing really great. Dr. Ken's taking the pressure off Dad's nerves so the power flows well, and he can work much better and heal himself and stay stronger, and he can play with you better and, you know, have a better life. Tell me, sweetheart, what's the best thing about Daddy since he's been under chiropractic care? Out of left field, as God is my witness, she looked up at me and without even blinking said, "He doesn't hit me anymore. He doesn't hit me anymore." You know what? What we do, how we teach, the role that we play in each other's lives and the lives of children is so important, because I'm not only helping this man, but I'm also helping this daughter and the life that she'll have and the role that she'll play with her children. You know, a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. So I'm here for you and your families. I want to thank you so much for your time tonight. I'm going to give each of you a form for feedback. I would really appreciate it if you could honestly fill it out, okay? And we'll collect it at the end. And I'll stick around for a couple of minutes if anybody has any additional questions.
Do you have that form in an online version? So the people who may have watched on our Facebook, can they fill it out also if they choose to?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
I can email it to you.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna close out, thank you very much again, Dr.
Thank you, Danielle.
I'm just gonna close out our meeting here really quickly. Let's see here. Are there any other items from the floor about our group?
I just had a quick suggestion with the dining fundraising.
Yeah.
The Chipotle one has been very popular in the school recently with different things, and it seems to be very well received and very easy to do. So, and I hear talk amongst the staff and so forth that they love Chipotle and like a reason to go there. So just the thought
There
that
might be more.
going with a more casual one as well might be a little more successful.
Great, okay.
Smithsburg does it too.
And Texas Roadhouse, they did one recently with a fundraiser.
Yeah, Yeah,
With the Chipotle, I've seen like 5 of them, like it's crazy.
okay. Okay. Yeah, we could try that one.
PBA did the Texas Roadhouse.
So did the Education Foundation. Okay. The only thing, anything else from our group? No? Real quickly, our next meeting is scheduled for May 11th. I wanted to consider changing this date to after the scholarships when they're due. The scholarships are due May 19th, so I want to check with the library to see what day they're available after, so we can meet then. So if that's okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and that's it. We are done with our meeting now, so thank you very much again for coming. And, yeah.
Thank you for having me, Madam.
Thank you. Yes.